2020 has been a year that will go down in history. This is no surprise because it is one of the most devastating years in our history. The world has been challenged by severely unprecedented circumstances, and they all force us to consider how to look back on our lives and change them for the better of our futures. Let's take a minute to remember how we used to live our lives only a few short months ago, being in crowds of hundreds of people that we don't even know, the different vacations and places we'd go to without any sort of protection, the waste of our daily habits. Or what about the big parties, the big 4th of July and New Year's celebrations that we'd have, the giant festivals? These current events have forced us to change the way that we do things, the ways that we live our lives, the ways that we throw parties, the ways that we have fun. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It shows us how to be safer people, how to live in safer ways. And one thing I've definitely learned from this whole experience is that it really teaches you to love the little things in your life that make you who you are. We've had a strange couple weeks in my home. My father has tested positive for COVID-19, so we've been doing our best to take care of him while staying separate from each other. My mom is the only one in contact with him, bringing him food and making sure he's okay. As for my sister, she hasn't been home to protect her own health. Luckily, my family has been taking precautions to help us in this situation, such as opening windows and keeping all doors closed, and we've been taking other measures to keep ourselves less anxious. This is the room that my father has been in for the past 2 weeks. My mother has been the only one allowed in the room, since she's the only one that's been bringing him food and being in contact with him. We're trying to limit our contact as much as possible. This paper on the ground is my father's absentee ballot application, which we have not been able to turn in since nobody's been able to leave the house. Unfortunately, this means he will not be able to vote in this election. The only physical contact that I've had with my father over the past 2 weeks was us sliding this application back and forth between the door. We have also been living in separate parts of the house to avoid contact as much as possible. This is where my mom has been staying. It is our living room. She has been sleeping on the couch, which pulls out into a bed. And because she has been the only one taking care of my father and in contact with him, she has been having to separate from me as well. She has also been taking the necessary precautions and making sure that she is remaining healthy while being in contact with him as well. As another precaution, every time we walk around the house, we make sure to wear our masks. As for me, I've been staying in the basement of my house. Luckily, there's a couch down there that I've been sleeping on, and I've been making it as comfortable for myself as possible. This is honestly probably the safest place to be right now in the house, since it is the furthest room from my dad's, despite it being a little dated. Food has also been very important to think about recently. Because of the conditions in my house, we've only been using paper plates instead of our usual dishes, and we've only been drinking out of water bottles. Fortunately, we have a lot of great friends that have been thinking about us, bringing us food, especially soup. We have about 3 tubs of soup in my refrigerator right now. My aunt and uncle who live next door have also been very good to us this week, leaving bags of food on their doorstep for me to come and pick up every now and then. They do this for us since we can't leave the house to go to the grocery store to get food. School has been probably the biggest change recently for me. I am an art major at Rhode Island College, so my classes are always very hands-on. I'm taking ceramics and metal fabrication this semester. But I always find it so crazy when I look back on my old work and see the progress I've been making in my classes, and then I think of last semester when everything shut down. I was making sculptures out of actual garbage and just sticks and things I could find around the house. Whatever was feasible for me at the time, since we couldn't go to stores or go out places. It was very different. Today I updated the basement a little bit. I brought my TV down and I've just been watching some memories. I think it's extremely important, especially now, to really reflect and to think about what natural changes have occurred in our lives, what has impacted us greatly. This pandemic has impacted everyone in this whole world, and I think it's important that we use this as an opportunity to better ourselves, that we use this as a wake-up call to help us to make even better versions of ourselves and better choices. And I don't think that's impossible, as long as we focus on what really matters and makes us who we are.
Michael, sing Jingle Bells. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Today, my mom and I have also started to put up our Christmas decorations. We haven't really had much to do around the house, and we thought it would be nice for my dad, when he comes out of his room for the first time in 2 weeks, to see everything all decorated. Hopefully it'll remind him of the happy time of the year that Christmas is, and our family all together, even though that won't be the case this year. I think it's really sad to think about how many people will have an empty seat at their Christmas dinner this year after everything that's happened, and to remember that we're still together now and how fortunate we are. Even though I haven't been going out, I still think it's very important to keep up with good hygiene and cleanliness, and it helps me to at least feel a little bit normal while at home. Today is a important day. Not only is it election day, but I'm also getting my COVID test at urgent care. And it'll be the first time that I've been out of my house in almost 2 weeks, which will be even more interesting for me. Scheduling a test was actually very competitive. I was surprised that the time slots for these appointments went so quickly. It was very difficult, and one of the reasons why I had to schedule this test so far out from being in quarantine. The test that I will be taking is a nasal swab test. They stick a swab up my nostrils, and I get my results within 48 hours from this appointment. So when I come back, I will have taken my test. Oh, wow. I feel weird. More food for tonight. Fortunately, before I was put in quarantine, I got a chance to vote. There is a huge pressure right now being put on America to make this decision. No matter what this choice is, the next 4 years depend on it. The next 4 years of rebuilding a nation and a people and uniting a people are going to be based off of this. It's such a huge decision to make, and a lot of people are predicting many tensions and even acts of violence to come in the next few weeks because of this. So I urge everybody to stay safe and to be careful. Today is a big day in my house. My dad is finally free from COVID-19 and can leave his room, and I'm moving back upstairs to my room from the basement. I still have to quarantine for 2 weeks, but I feel like I can look at it with more positivity and more peace now. This experience has really taught me how to focus on the little things that truly matter and truly make me happy in life. The little family moments, the little breaths I can take in between my work. The things that really help me to relax and be at peace. And I think everybody has those. And it takes something like this to wake us up and to really realize those little things that truly, truly matter.